Got this brand new beard balm. It's got my beard smelling like just wonderful. Can't stop sniffing my own beard. This is a weird thing, but besides all of that, as you guys can tell, I finally got the space built out a little. It'll probably change ever so slightly as we move forward on this journey, but at least we got a little bit of a look going, a little bit of a background, as opposed to the last time when there was nothing. And I don't want to have that at all. So yeah, so far so good. All right, guys, so last video we were talking about two people having a conversation and kind of setting up some rules that would help you not confuse your audience. So that's always what we want to do. We want to do things in a way as visual storytellers that doesn't confuse the audience. But now the question becomes, well, what happens when it's more people in the room? How do we handle that, smart guy? How do we handle that? And the answer is by doing the exact same thing that we've been doing, but we modify it ever so slightly. So without further ado, let's get into the video, and I'm gonna show you how to have multiple people talking in the room and how to have characters change position and end up talking on the opposite side of each other. A lot of stuff going on. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's go. What's up, fam? It's your boy DKG72, and in this video we're going to be talking about having multiple people in a room having a conversation and how you can present that visually in a way that is dynamic and it doesn't confuse the audience. It just works well. In this scene we have 4 characters in a room and they're all having a conversation. So how do we establish everybody? Well, first we're going to establish guy number 1 and guy number 2 on the left and right, just like we did before. Now guys number 3 and 4, we're now going to establish them at the bottom of the panel and at the top of the panel. Normally what I like to do as a storyteller is I like to open with kind of an overhead shot that kind of establishes this situation. This, just like last time, creates multiple camera lines. Now remember, in the last video we created one camera line with 2 characters looking right at each other, but this now establishes multiple camera lines in which multiple characters can be looking at each other at any given time. So now with everybody established, here's the part where you guys get to play with your camera work, and I'm going to explain to you what I mean. Like, long panels should be used for long establishing shots and shots that include multiple characters talking to each other or looking at each other. Medium shots should be used for more of a 2-on-2 type of interactions, like say for instance the character at the top of the panel, he wants to talk to the character over to the left, so you kind of can work that where those 2 guys are talking to each other. The character at the bottom of the panel is talking to the character across from him, or the character at the bottom of the panel is talking to the guy on the right hand side of the panel. So you got many different options, right? So that's what you want to kind of use your medium panel for. And then a more regular square panel, that's your close-up panel, obviously. So then you can kind of show emotion and people getting angry with each other, or maybe really making a point. So that may be a little bit longer type panel, so you can show more of their body, but it's still kind of a close-up because you're just focusing on that one character, and therefore you don't have to worry about their placement as much. But because it's a close-up panel, the audience will automatically just kind of know, okay, this is where this guy is positioned. Alright, so now let's look at another situation. So say for instance you have 2 characters talking to each other and you want to show them moving about and establish them on the opposite sides of each other. So character 1's on the left hand side and character 2 is on the right hand side, right? Now, how are you going to do this? Obviously, if these characters are going to move past each other, they have to at some point cross the imaginary camera line. That camera line is going to be crossed by using a transition panel. This panel will actually show the two characters walking past each other, or one walking past the other guy just standing there. However your scene is supposed to work out. And then you will have to reestablish everybody in the respective places. So character 2 will now be on the left hand side, character 1 will now be on the right hand side. Now the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want guys just standing around stationary, or if you do have them standing around stationary, you have to kind of add in some panels that shows them moving about or getting ready to make a movement. This all goes to your planning for the scene and your planning for how you're going to relate the information visually to the audience. And if you do it correctly, it can look really, really good. In fact, let's give an example. Alright, so in this example right here, we have two characters in a room, basically a kitchen, living room type combo setting, and they're talking to each other. Now, one of the things that we have to establish in this first establishing shot is that there is a coffee pot and, you know, everything that comes with the coffee pot on a counter. The reason why you want to establish that, because that's the goal for character 2, who is on the right hand side, to cross over and pass character 1, who is on the left hand side. Basically, you have character 1 talking to character 2. Character 2 is just chilling in the chair, leaning up against the wall, being casual, but he gets thirsty and he wants to get a sip of coffee. So obviously we got to show him getting up out of the chair. We then have to show him walking past character 1, get his coffee, pour his coffee, or that could be just one panel, it's completely up to you. And then we reestablish that character 2 is now on the right hand side, or the left hand side, and character 1 is now on the right. Once you do that, you're basically setting it up that your audience can clearly follow what's happening, and they still know who's talking, who's not talking, and where everybody is at. And it just doesn't look random. You just don't have people just appearing in different spots and nobody knows how they got there. This is super important because you guys have to remember that what we're doing, we're visual storytellers, and just like in the movies or in television, the audience, everybody is watching what your characters are doing. So in the industry, we have this saying that you got to show it, you don't tell. Show, don't tell. So you're going to have to show these things and not just tell people that they're happening. Well, he walked over to the counter. That's not going to work. You got to show, can't tell. So if you show it and you don't tell it, it's going to look great. It's going to make for interesting panels. And as an example, I went back to an old X Factor comic that I love from back in the early 90s, and it was drawn by the artist Larry Stroman. And in that book, the characters were just having conversation about all kinds of stuff. And during the conversation, they were messing around with a mayonnaise jar that nobody could get open, and it kind of just took on a life of its own. They were still talking about the things that they were talking about, origin stories and all that, but by having them focus on other things other than just their conversation and all of that good stuff, having them doing some sort of an action, it just made the scene that much more interesting. And it turned out that it was a clever joke by one of the characters in the book. But you got to go get that issue and check it out for yourself. So just remember, we live in the 21st century now, and we have a billion distractions, and you know this. So obviously people are always talking. They normally have their heads buried in their cell phones or something like that. They're scrolling, they're clicking on remote controls, or looking at TV and talking at the same time. All of this can be incorporated into your visual storytelling, and honestly, it makes for the most interesting scenes of characters talking instead of just characters standing and you know, everybody just kind of doing whatever they do. So always think about that. Always think visually. Always think about showing, not telling, and you're going to create some of the most interesting conversation scenes you've ever done. And it won't just be 8-9 panels of people just blabbing to each other, because we don't want that. We want a little bit more action. We want a little bit more naturalness. We don't want heads talking. Alright fam, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please go ahead and hit that like button. The like button is the lifeblood of this channel, and it tells YouTube to to like us and show us to other people that like you or like-minded. So please hit the like button. Also, make sure that you share this all over the interwebs. Please share it all over the place. Share it everywhere. And hit that bell icon. That's going to let you know when I post up a brand new video, because that's very important too. This is how we defeat the YouTube algorithm. If you guys ever want to holler at me or just have a cool conversation or tell me you don't like me and all the good stuff, hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at DKG72. Have a Facebook fan page and a TikTok, that's David Gordon 72. Hey, if you guys really like what you're seeing on the channel and you want to support, got a Patreon, DKG 72 Comics. Head over to Patreon, pick a tier. We're gonna love you for it. Or we have links for supplies and books and all kinds of stuff in the description. They're affiliate links. They help the channel also. So I hope you guys got a lot out of this. Just remember, try drawing as many scenes of people talking as you can, and try to make them as interesting as possible, and try to avoid drawing 8, 9, 10 heads just talking. And I think you guys will find that you come up with some great layouts, some great interesting interactions, and just a better experience altogether. Darn. Well, I'm not recording. Well, I'm not re-recording. So we just gonna go with it. It's the end of the video. And it's your boy DKG72. I'm out. Peace.